Hi everyone, today is Monday, April the 29th. My name is Anne-Marie Band and this is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. We're looking at TrendSpider a little bit. I am using our formations that we look at quite often, which are range-based and very price-based. And so I wanted to put up the heat map here so you could see where there's a lot of volume going around in this particular chart. And so we're going to do that for the SPY and the Qs, but not the others. In any case, this is what we've got. This is the measured move, but that brought it from here, this whole sideways motion, down into here, almost. I mean, if we look at this wick, we can go, okay, that matches. But it did come just shy of that. And so I have the additional lines focused in there for us to see. This is key for us to see that we have resistance, support, support, and then is this resistance or are we going to break out? My thought is if we break to the north, we will likely have the, I don't know, maybe we head back up all the way into 516, right? I don't know that that happens. What I do know is we've got a serious event in the currencies with the Bank of Japan, and that might cause the Fed to do something early. I don't know if they will, but we'll see. That being said, all of that being said, these are the levels. They are the same. I've added these edges. So we're now walking up this wall of worry. This is the candlestick in motion that we are attempting to retrace. The marvelous thing about drawing these types of channels is that you can do them on daily or weekly formations. And hello, doesn't want to be straight for me until I bring it out here. And you can actually do it on the individual candlestick to see where it is that the current motion is. And you can see it's right at that 50% area. It's one more thing that says, we're going to run into a lot of congestion here at this 510 zone. If we break out and people have been short the 510 calls, it's going to chase the dealers into the market and go long up into the 514 to 515 area. So that's what we're looking at. The heat map, of course, is something to stare down in the charts if you're so inclined. But that just tells you, hey, there's a lot of volume here, so it could get sticky. Look at this one. All right, so I'm going to address the colors in here so that you can see, because I've already done these, so that you can see what's been replicated. Leave the background the way it is for now, just so that we can look at that. But I've drawn three of them. One, here's the second one, touching it. And then here's the third one. Notice it came to the 50% marker on the one on the bottom. And that can happen, right? That's something that really is potentially possible. The goal, when it comes to the level, you collapse down into tight time frames and you watch for the failure of price action or the continuation of price action. How does it look? Here's what the failure looks like. It pops up, and then the following one fails. Or it pops up, and then two candlesticks later, it fails. All right, now you can take it if it breaks out, but then doesn't get into the next level, and then you can say, hey, I'm going to cut off the trade. Or you can simply wait because it's in the direction of trend, and you know what you're looking for. All right, so that's really what we're after here. Let me go to our... this one's the Stoic Investor, and it's got all the lines for everything else. I know it looks quite different to the other one. So let's hop into the ES. And these are the lines that we are staring down. You could look at the heat map also here, 5075. We know that 5,000 has been the call wall since last month. We know that April has a tendency to be bullish in general, but hey, look at that. That's almost all of them. Why? Because the market tends to trend up, and deep dips will be buy zones. Now, here's the thing. There is a call wall at 5150, and all night we've been obeying it. If the call wall breaks to the north, it will force the dealers into buying, and we'll have this big upshot here. Okay? So realize trend, upward, breakout, could tell us that's what we've got on the horizon. Okay, I have a 2-hour candlestick formation. We can see that this is making another box. Now notice, if I go to the daily, and I'm not sure why my my things don't show up, but these are only visible on the time frame that I draw them. And you have to draw them on the dailies because that's literally, the bigger the candle, the more important the formation. And you can see that it's time framed up these levels, and it's now at this 50% mark where this call wall sits. Okay? Very interesting that it matches relative old resistance. They're expecting it stays as old resistance. So today is a pretty big do or die day for the buyers. If it fails here, watch it step down, 51.27, and then, you know, maybe 51.19, 51.14, something like that after this, right? So that's really what we'd be looking for. We have a gap up. It could fill, right? The gap fill says, look at the close of Friday, and if it comes into that zone, anticipate that buyers are going to hop right on that train. That's 51.30-ish. That's the opening. And that makes for the relative gap with a ton of congestion down below 51.27. How do you want to trade the levels? Wait for them to get there, collapse down into a 5-minute formation, and wait for it to give you a pattern that tells you it's going to bounce, right? How do those patterns look? Oh, they look like this. They stop heading lower on their bodies, they bounce, and then they retrace. That's what's going to happen. Runaway trains are only going to happen over this 51.50 because it will force dealers into the market and we'll get a squeeze. All right? Levels look fairly similar to the ones we had last week. So I want you to, take a peek at those. I've got the 2-hour candlestick formations just because I don't want it super messy. But those are the lines we have. Pause the recording. You can pick them up, put alerts for them. I mean, that's how you're going to use them. You put alerts for them. All right, here's the NQ, 2-hour formation. Same kind of thing. I don't know, I can't remember where the call wall is on the Qs. I think it's well to the north. But we can see we've got this upward formation, pullbacks or buy zones, but it's caught in a small box, right? It's caught in a small box. So if we were to draw the small box, again, remember, you can draw these any place just so long as the charts are telling you that the number is valid, right? So here's our box. I've drawn it as a channel. Do you want to go, maybe that's the box, Anne-Marie, because old resistance, new support. I would say if that were the box, then really we would want to come down into this area potentially where we have the real resistance zone. And so that would be the region that you would want to duplicate, put to the north, duplicate, put one to the south, and just time frame it up or time frame it down. But we can clearly see we've got selling pressure right up here at these bands, okay? If you're interested, on the Benzinga Pro platform, we will do some training after we do our stock and options stuff, and that's going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, starting at 12:20. Get yourself on board with the Benzinga Pro platform for the time being. It is not being offered anywhere else. Okay, let's go to the YM. Here's the YM. Let's take a look at the daily. Again, the heat map just simply tells us this is where we've had a lot of pressure. I don't know why I don't know where they are. That's so strange. My channels are not showing up in here. In any case, you might draw your channel to look like this. Here is a fair bit of support, and then resistance. Looks like old resistance, new support. You could say, hey, it might be here. Whichever the case, I'm inclined to make it halfway through this area, so I would say it's probably a little further down to make the halfway spot, and then you simply replicate it. Cloning. Does it match? Kind of. It looks okay. Maybe this is why I removed these, because they didn't feel it particularly right. Well, let's walk it down just for grins. All right, and then replicate it again. Yeah, that actually looks pretty good. And then replicate it again. And then replicate it one more time. Yeah, I think it looks okay. It's pretty good, actually. Comes right down into that edge look. Old support. That's beautiful. I'm going to borrow. No, I'm going to draw another line right here at this noise that brings us right into this zone. I like it. Listen, it's not an exact science, but it is a place that says, listen, when it comes into these levels, collapse down into the tight time frames and find yourself where the chart action actually says, I'm not going to go lower or I'm not going to go higher, and you can catch that trend from that formation. All right, that's what's going on with the YM. Those are the colors in play. You know, you got to go to the daily chart. If you look at this one, you can see there are a lot of heat map areas, but they match the tops of our channels that we're drawing, right? If we draw, oh, this is the only one that appeared on all time frames. That is the most bizarre thing on the planet. I have no idea why that happens. Okay, so that's what we're staring down, okay? We're staring down old resistance, new support, and my suspicion is that that box is probably a little bit wider. This I have because of the two VWAPs that are sitting beside each other, but I'm going to pull down the line right here at 851, excuse me, 18,571 to give us that old resistance zone. If we break, it's going to run. Do not try to add in or scale here because it could get very, very messy. All right, let's take a look at oil very quickly. Oil doing its sideways thing, right? Probably because of, let me see if I can clone this channel and borrow it. Yep, let's see how wide that is. Probably not as wide as it needs to be honest. Looks to me like that is our channel event halfway here. Resistance, resistance, support, support, resistance, and then a collapse of the range. My suspicion it comes back down to 82 and some change today based on this channel event. All right, finally we take a look at gold. I think gold should be fairly noisy simply because we've got a currency fiasco on the horizon. It should grind higher based on this noise, right? Same sort of thing. Wait. No, I gotta clone this guy. Same sort of thing in the other charts. Let's see. The top of that is the breakdown. This is the midline. That's perfect. Yeah, this is what we're looking at right here. If it loses this edge, today's VWAP, it should collapse into yesterday's VWAP. Coach Dakota took, it occurred to me that that's probably not his name. But in any case, Dakota said that Dakota had a really nice short the other day, and this number, 43.32, was the target zone off of that peak. I think we're going to be seeing a little bit of peak and flow action today in general. I'm going to delete this. Whoops, can't find it. All right, just look at the 2360 line, not 2357. All right, folks, that's it for me. I'll see you on the platforms.